Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have yet another Star Ace model to take a look at. This is the third of my newest group of Star Ace models I've acquired, and this time we've got ourselves a dinosaur, and not just any dinosaur, we have the Spinosaurus 2.0. If you can recall, I have actually reviewed a Star Ace Spinosaurus here in the past on the channel, but it was a different version. Like, it was the same sculpt, a lot of the model was the same, or at least as far as the dinosaur goes, but this time we have an entirely different base, an entirely different paint scheme and everything for the Spinosaurus. And this time we have a version that's not in the water. Now, a lot of people kind of took issue with the last one because the last one had like this really cool effect going on where it gave you the visual of the Spinosaurus in the water without actually adding water. It was basically a paint application that ran across the lower part of the Spinosaurus that made it look like it was standing in the water. I thought it was really cool, and I thought it was pretty much brilliance on the part of Star Ace because it was so unique and different. But not everybody liked it. You know, there were definitely a fair share that did really quite like that, but some people would have preferred just, you know, the coloration of the Spinosaurus. And that's what we now have here with this version, because this version, rather than being in the water, is standing alongside the water. And you can see we've got a gorgeous image there of the Spinosaurus on the front. Also a little sneak peek of the entire thing once it's put together there on the side. You've got a really cool headshot over here of the Spinosaurus, which you can see right there. And then, if we keep turning it here, we'll take a look at the other side. You can now see we've got, again, a shot, basically the same shot we had on the front of the box right there. And if we turn the box around, you can see some information and everything on the back here about the statue, about the dinosaur, and everything that goes along with it. And also up here on the top, there's also, even though it's upside down currently, but there is another image of the Spinosaurus model looking really cool. So, definitely excited to check this version out. I was a big fan of the last one. I think I might actually be a bigger fan of this version, so let's pop the box open and check it out. So, starting up here at the head sculpt of the Spinosaurus, straight away, one thing that I do want to make mention of is the fact that the Spinosaurus is the same sculpt as the previously released version. There isn't anything different sculpt-wise about this model compared to the older one, but we have an entirely different paint scheme on this, and I would say this is probably the superior paint scheme if you ask me. So what we really need to go over, of course, would be the paint apps as far as this version goes. And you can see straight away the face is really nice looking. The paintwork is beautifully done up here. And there is one aspect straight away that I really do like about this Spinosaurus in the face area, which I will get to here in a moment. But you can see we've got some nice dark, almost like greenish tones showing up, as well as blacks, and then some reds there kind of under the eye socket, which looks really nice. Pretty much the same thing minus the reds going on down here for the lower jaw. You've got a nice pinkish tone there for the inside of the mouth. The tongue is also painted with that pinkish tone. Everything looks really good there as far as the inside of the mouth goes. The teeth are all, again, really nicely painted on top of everything. You can see that they are very nice, very precise as far as the paintwork goes. I don't see any sloppiness or anything at all when it comes to the painting of the teeth on this version of the Spinosaurus. Again, if you would like to see a much more detailed look at the actual sculpt of this model, make sure you check out the first review of the original Spinosaurus, which I actually recommend checking out either way just to see how different and, you know, cool the paint apps are on that one. We can also see the eyes are painted really nicely, and considering how small they are, again, it's always impressive to me how good of a job Star Ace does when it comes to the paint apps of the eyes of their models. But what I was just saying that I do like about this is the fact that you can kind of see like a bit of a gloss coat on the face here. You can see it has a very satin shine to it, and I really like that because if we take a look at the entire scene that we have occurring here and where the Spinosaurus is currently standing, it's standing on the side of what appears to be a stream or maybe even the ocean or some sort of a body of water. We can kind of see ripples coming in when you look at the base, so obviously the water's kind of running in and kind of splashing up onto shore. What we see here, in my opinion, with the face having this glossy look, makes it look like the Spinosaurus is standing on the side of the shore and maybe fishing. Maybe it's sticking its head down into the water and kind of looking around and trying to find something just by standing on the side of the shore, which is why we don't see that gloss coat as you move through the rest of the body. You can see that has a very matte finish, but we have a satin shine for the face, and it's not like just one spot, the entire face has that. So I feel like the Spinosaurus has just recently stuck its head down into the water and now has a very wet appearance, obviously, to the face. And again, I don't know for sure if that was the intention on the part of Star Ace, but I kind of got that the moment I saw it, and I think that's a really cool touch. So definitely a really nice idea on the part of Star Ace if that's what they were going for. As you move back here into the neck region, you can see that we've got like a dark tone there running along those ridges on the back of the neck. You also have a slight striping. We have more of that kind of like greenish gray tone moving down through the course of the neck, as well as a few other very subtle differences in color that you can see there, kind of almost like slight brownish tones I see showing up here and there. You can also see we've got like some purples and almost maybe like some slight brownish tones to the underside of the throat as well, so you've got a little variation of color down here on the underside of the throat. As you continue to move along, we continue to have that darker tone, sort of really subtle striping moving down. We lead into the sail here, and we've got a really cool design for the sail without being too overly flashy. You basically have like a very interesting shade of like an orangish brown up here, and then you have a slightly lighter tone here with like a grayish tone that kind of has a slight hint of a purple, and then you've also got another tone which is basically the same similar tone of color that has like that greenish tone that we see through a large portion of the body. And you also have a black that stripes through repeatedly there, kind of cutting off those tones of color, and then a black that sort of outlines the sail as well. So very cool as far as the paintwork. There's also some dry brushing that's been added to it that I can see there, highlighting some of the scales. We also again have that darker tone down here at the bottom of the sail moving through the course of the upper part of the body. You have some striping again that leads down here through the side, similar to what we saw in the neck. We also can take notice to the fact that there is a very nice dark wash present on the model, which definitely helps to highlight a lot of the skin detail. As you move down the course of the arm, you can see they've kind of highlighted some of the muscle definition with some darker tones as well. And you lead down into the fingers. The fingers have very dark paintwork for them, nice black tone for the nails, kind of a shiny satin look to them, which is again what you would want to see on the nails of a anything, honestly, anything that has fingernails. So that looks really good. And then as we move back here into the thigh, you continue to see again the greenish tones with those dark blacks and stuff, kind of highlighting all the muscle definition and stuff. A little bit of a striping effect moving down the front of the leg. And then you move down into the foot, and again the foot is pretty similar to the way the hands were painted, where we have some darker tones and then those black glossy nails. We also obviously have the pegs here that connect our Spinosaurus to the base, and then as we move up here into the tail, you again have the same style of paintwork here, as we have that darker tone running along the top, the really nice subtle striping moving out, the beautiful greenish tones, as well as some grayish tones kind of mixing within, and then that dark wash, making sure we highlight all of the skin texture beautifully as we lead out through the length of that paddle-like tail. You can also see again that dark wash runs here through the underside of the Spinosaurus. No really big color differences from the greenish tone to the underside that I noticed. Maybe slightly different, but not too different. And then, of course, we're going to see pretty much the same thing over here. Again, that nice satin shine there in the face, and then as you move back through the course of the body, you have that same style of paintwork, same style, of course, of sculpt and everything. The sculpt is gorgeous on this Spinosaurus, and definitely, again, a really, really nice looking interpretation of a Spinosaurus. So without a doubt, in my opinion, this is the better of the two Spinos. Even though I love the other one and I love the unique appearance to the way that they had painted it, I am probably, I'd say, a little more partial to this one. We've also got the bones that are kind of laying on our base, and you can see those also sport some variation of color, as we have brownish tones and lighter tones, and then some gray here running along the vertebrae on the back, but you also have the rib cage and everything here for this little area. Obviously something that has been eaten at some point, maybe even washed downstream and now has kind of landed on the shore, or maybe this was a meal previously of the Spinosaurus. Who knows for sure, but it is a really cool little addition to this model. And then the base, you can see the base again has this really nice earthy area, again kind of showing off like the side of a stream or a lake of some kind. We've got really impressive texturing as you move through. You've got all kinds of variation of color as well. They definitely put a lot as far as the coloration into this, again making it look extremely lifelike. I love these little clusters of like rocks and stones and stuff. It just looks really cool. And then as you move over here to the side, you can see that we again have that little area of the water kind of like leading in, and it definitely has the visual of the water moving, kind of like this is the edge of the water as it's sort of hitting the shore, and you can almost just envision like the waves kind of leading up and smacking into the shore right there. But we again have those footprints and stuff there as you move through. Really nice paintwork on that area as well, and you can very clearly see a shine to it, so it has again that kind of wet look to it. And then the underside has the information on the statue, and again we've got the Spinosaurus americanus, which is a different species than you often see. You usually see Spinosaurus aegypticus, but this is a bit of a different version of a Spino than what we usually see created, which is one of the many reasons why I do really like this statue. And then again, the fact that it is Star Ace X Plus and sculpted by Sean Cooper. So very cool base to go with a gorgeous Spinosaurus. And there we go. We have the Spinosaurus on the base, looking absolutely awesome and fully put together. As far as a size goes, for a length on the Spinosaurus from the tail to the snout, about 12.5 inches or just shy of, actually more like 31.5, closing in on 32 centimeters, and then a height, the highest point would be the sail, about 6 inches or around 15.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon, as well as the Collect A human being next to our Spinosaurus. Now, I don't think we need to do many comparisons because we have done comparisons with the previous model, and since they are pretty much all the same size here, and obviously the same sculpt as far as the Spinosaurus goes, we don't really need to go over this again as far as size comparisons go. If you'd like to see more comparisons, definitely check out the other review, but you can see the Spinosaurus isn't gigantic, but does still sport, you know, a pretty darn decent size. I also wanted to show you guys this, because this is the skeletal replica here for our Spinosaurus that Star Ace has included. Again, if you purchase the deluxe version, I think you might be able to actually purchase this individually as well, which is definitely really cool. And you can see we have the skeletal remains of a Spinosaurus, very much so fossilized and looking incredible. Not only does the skeleton itself look incredible, but even the backdrop that we have on here looks fantastic. It's very highly detailed. They've done a great job of applying paintwork to the backdrop here with all sorts of variations of browns and stuff, a nice dark wash highlighting all the cracks and crevices to the earthy texture. And the same can be said for the Spinosaurus skeleton as you move through. That as well again has all kinds of realistic paintwork to it, tons of variation of color, even greens and stuff up here, and again that dark wash applied just like we see through the rest of this. And you can also see again really nice realistic aspects to this. You can see even like parts of the bones broken off as you move through. So they've done a great job of creating this in a way where it looks as realistic and lifelike as it can possibly get. Definitely an awesome addition. And you also have the ability to hang it on the wall, which you can see here on the back. And not only that, they also give you a little slip here, like a little bag that you can use to put the replica in if you choose not to, you know, display it, if you want to just kind of store it away. They have this really nice bag that you can put over top of it. It's nice and soft to make sure it stays safe. There's also a nameplate for this as well, just like we saw for the Spinosaurus model that we have there in the back, and they include the screws and everything that you would need to then, you know, apply this to your wall and display it. So, and also these that I think you can possibly put in the back to kind of have it stand up, yep, right back there, so that it would stand up like this then to display it. So definitely an incredible addition if you choose to get, again, the deluxe version or just in general purchase the skeletal replica. So this brand new version of the Star Ace Wonders of the Wild Spinosaurus is awesome. Like I said earlier, this is definitely my favorite version of this dinosaur that they have released. The previous one was really nice. It had a great paint scheme. The entire idea behind the way that they colored it was absolutely awesome and very unique. Definitely innovative if you ask me. But I like this one a little bit better just because we have it standing up on the shore. The addition of the face kind of being wet, again, making it look like it has just recently kind of driven its face down into the water to grab itself a fish or something, is also just such a really cool touch. The paintwork on this throughout is very nice and naturalistic, but very high quality. The actual paint applications lately, like, it's always been great on the Star Ace models, but I feel like they've somehow been even better lately. If you look at the paintwork of the mammoth, the elasmotherium, and now this Spinosaurus. Like, it's probably some of the best I've seen from Star Ace so far. But again, they did a really good job of blending colors, transitioning colors, nice dark wash on it, just to make sure it looks as realistic and lifelike as it gets. The base as well is awesome. Very nice, again, side of like a lake, river, stream. I'm not too sure, but I love the earthy area. They've done a great job of sculpting that out as well, also applying very realistic paint apps. Then we've got the water area kind of running in there and kind of splashing up onto shore, just honestly pulling you into the scene and making you basically just transport into the moment where the Spinosaurus was standing on the side of the water, you know, fishing, and that as well is really nicely done. They've also added a nice kind of satin shine to that to sort of give it the water, and even replicated the waves very nicely. You also have that little area of the, you know, remains of some sort of a dinosaur with the rib cage and vertebrae there on the side, which is a really cool touch again as well. Maybe a previous meal of the Spinosaurus, maybe something that just came downstream or washed up somehow onto the side. Just again, something that I think is a really cool little minor touch like that. Just makes so much difference to a model and helps to add just a little bit more to the scene taking place. And then of course you've got the black base there down under it with a nice oval appearance, giving it that museum-like appearance, and then the nameplate to just top everything off, which is awesome to include stuff like that. Again, when it comes to a display, you really can't ask for much more than a Wonders of the Wild series release. You also have the fossil replica, which is gorgeous. Again, this is the first time I've ever had the opportunity to own a fossil replica like this of a Spinosaurus, where you see like the entire body kind of fossilized in, you know, some sort of an earthy area, and it looks great here. The sculpt is fantastic on the entire skeletal reconstruction of the Spinosaurus. It's very highly detailed, definitely looks very weathered and very fossilized, which is exactly what they were trying to achieve. The paintwork of that as well is great, and the actual earthy area again surrounding the Spinosaurus skeleton is really well done. Lots of variation of color, incredible sculpt on that as well, and it just creates an awesome collectible that if you are a fan of a Spinosaurus, I feel like you really have to add to your collection. Definitely a must-have, honestly, as far as everything that you see here. So if you are interested in this, I will include links in the description to where you can purchase all of this and add it to your collection. Definitely do that, because if you are a fan of Spinosaurus, like I said, you really need this stuff in your collection. So make sure you do that by checking the links in the description, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.